Good morning, student. Today we will discuss our new topic, physiology and injury in sports. Physiology. Physiology is the scientific study of human body system and its effect. In this chapter, we will discuss about the physiological factors determining various components, that is strength, speed, endurance, flexibility, etc. What are the physiological factors that determine this component? How these components are affected by the body systems. If our body systems function properly, then what will happen to this component? For example, if our heart does not function properly, then our endurance will be reduced because it will not supply oxygen to the working muscle. Therefore, our endurance will be reduced. First is physiological factors determining endurance. Endurance is the component of physical fitness. Endurance means the ability of an individual to do the activity for a long period of time, means ability to withstand fatigue, ability to do the activity for a long period of time without fatigue. And endurance, it is of two types, aerobic endurance and anaerobic endurance. And what are the factors which determine endurance? The first is maximum oxygen uptake. Maximum oxygen uptake refers to the highest rate at which oxygen can be taken up and consumed by the body during the intense exercise. If our oxygen uptake capacity increase, then our endurance will be improved because it will supply more oxygen. Thus it enhances the oxygen utilization during the exercise, thus which improve mitochondrial respirations and subsequently endurance will be improved. Okay, maximum oxygen intake means highest rate at which the oxygens can be taken up and consumed by the body during the exercise. If during the exercise, if the maximum oxygen uptake improve, then it will supply more oxygen. If more oxygen means our endurance will be improved. Pulmonary diffusions. Pulmonary diffusions means exchange of oxygens and carbon dioxide between the lungs and the body. So, if the pulmonary diffusions increase more and faster the pulmonary diffusions, more and faster will be the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, which result in improved in endurance. Cardiac output. Cardiac output is the ability of heart to pump out blood in 1 minute. In 1 minute, how much blood our heart pump. If our cardiac output improve, then more blood will be pumped out by the heart. Thus, our endurance will be improved. It's help in circulating the pure blood, oxygen-rich blood to the working tissue. Therefore, our muscles can do the activity for a long period of time. Aerobic capacity. Aerobic capacity. Aerobic means doing activity in the presence of oxygen. If our aerobic capacity improve, then we can do our activity for a long period of time with slow speed. We do the activity for long period of time and our speed is slow. Lactate threshold. Lactate threshold means the ability to tolerate the lactic acid. If we are able to tolerate the lactic acid, then we will not feel fatigue. Okay, lactic acids, because if we do activity during doing any physical workout, physical activity, lactic acid produced, due to which we feel fatigue. If the lactic acid produced, we feel fatigue. But if we have the ability to tolerate the lactic acids, then um, we can do the activity for long period of time. It helps to delay the fatigue, tiredness. Thus, our endurance will be improved. Blood volume and flow. If the blood volumes and flow is improved, then endurance will be improved because it supply more oxygen, more nutrients with the help of blood. Okay, so if the flow of blood is more, it will supply more oxygens, which increase the hemoglobin in the cell, and this increase blood plasma, by which our endurance will be improved. Red muscle fibers. There are two types of muscle fibers: white muscle fiber and red muscle fibers. Red muscle fibers means slow twitch muscle fibers. Red muscle fiber carry more oxygen, thus helpful for aerobic endurance. Higher the percentage of red muscle fibers, that will be the more endurance. Okay, if the person has more red blood cells, then it will carry more oxygen to the walking muscles. Therefore, we can do the activity for a long period of time. And the persons who has white muscle fibers, he has more speed. The person who has red muscle fibers, he will have more endurance, and the persons who has white muscle fibers, he will have more speed. Hydrations. Endurance activity. For doing any activity, we need waters. If we do any activity, physical workout, it causes sweating, loss of important minerals, which result in dehydration. Therefore, if we have sufficient amount of waters, it helps to improve our endurance. These are the factors which determine the endurance. Endurance means ability to tolerate the fatigue, ability to do the activity for long period of time. And what are the factors which determine endurance? First is maximum oxygen uptake. Maximum oxygen uptake means oxygen uptake means amount of oxygens which can be absorbed and consumed by the walking tissue. Okay, oxygen uptake means the amount of oxygens consumed by the walking tissue. If the oxygen uptake improve, then our endurance will be improved. Pulmonary diffusions. Pulmonary diffusions means exchange of oxygens and carbon dioxide. It fosters the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide, more will be the endurance. Cardiac output. Cardiac output means amount of blood pumped out by the heart in 1 minute. If our heart pump more blood, then our endurance will be improved. Aerobic capacity. Aerobic capacity means doing the activity in the presence of activity. Lactic threshold means ability to tolerate the lactic acid. If we have able to tolerate our lactic acid, due to lactic acids we feel fatigue. If we are able to tolerate the lactic acids, then we will have to delay the fatigue, tiredness. Thus, we can do the activity for a long period of time. Blood volume and flow. If the flow of blood is more, then more oxygens, nutrients are supplied by the blood, which result in increase in hemoglobin, that is increase in red blood cells in our blood, which cause improving in our endurance. Red muscle fibers carry more oxygen, thus there will be the high aerobic endurance. Okay, if we have more oxygen, sufficient oxygens, we can do the activity for a long period of time. Hydrations. If we have sufficient amount of waters in our body, It's helped to improve our endurance. These are the physiological factors which determine the endurance. Next is physiological factors that determine strength. Strength means ability to resist or ability to overcome the resistance. Okay, strength means ability to overcome the resistance. There are two types of strength: static strength, dynamic strength. Static means ability to overcome the resistance from a fixed point, for example pushing a wall. And dynamic means ability to overcome the resistance while in motion, for examples in wrestling, running, jumping, etc. In dynamic strength, there are three types: maximum strength, explosive strength, and strength endurance. Maximum strength means ability to overcome maximum resistance, for example in weightlifting. Explosive strength means ability to overcome the resistance with high speed, for example in long jump. And strength endurance means ability to overcome the resistance under the condition of fatigue, for examples in swimming, running, etc. And what are the factors that determine strength? The first is muscle covering sarcolemma. The fibers, the muscle fibers covering sarcolemma bind the muscle fibers to work together. If the sarcolemma covering increase the cross bridge sections area and help in strength of muscle. Okay, muscle fiber covering. If our sarcolemma bind muscle fibers work together, our strength, our power will be improved. White muscle fiber, that is fast twist muscle fibers. White muscle fiber have more connective tissue. Okay, white muscle fibers, they have more connective tissue and they bring fast and strong contraction. Greater the percentage of white muscle fibers, more will be the explosive strength, because white muscle fibers, it helps in connecting the muscle. Muscular contractions, there are two types of contraction. Muscular contraction, that is eccentric and concentric and eccentric. Concentric means shortening of muscle and eccentric means lengthening of muscles, that is downward movement of our muscle. It regulates our muscular actions in a controlled manner. It's help in accuracy and efficiency of movement and does help in strength development. Muscular contraction. Muscle length, usually the long muscles have more strength as compared to small muscle. Nerve impulse, if the nerve impulse is faster and stronger, the nerve impulse more powerful with the contraction of muscle, thus the strength will be improved. Okay, nerve impulse send the message to the skeletal muscle. Nerve impulse send a message to the skeletal muscles to respond. If the nerve impulse strong, there will be the fast contractions and higher the strength, our strength will be more. The intensity of neuromuscular response determine the strength. The stronger the neuromuscular strength, more will be the strength. Okay, higher the neuromuscular response, faster the neuromuscular response, there will be the faster contractions, thus our strength will be more. Adequate energy, if we have more energy, we will have more strength. Greater the number of mitochondria in our muscle fibers produce more energy. If the mitochondria in our muscle fibers is more, then more energy it will release more energy and stronger and longer the muscle contraction. Age, usually the persons between 20 to 40 years have more strength, and after that it gradually decrease the strength. Genders, male have more strength as compared to women due to bigger and longer muscle length. Usually men have more longer muscles, their muscles length is long, and length of the muscles also determine the strength. Longer the, if the size of the muscle is length, means the length of the muscle is more, it will have more strength. Therefore gender have more strength as compared to female due to their muscle length. Body weight, usually the persons who are overweight, they have more strength, they have more power. Myoglobin, it is a type of protein which is present in muscle fibers to store the oxygen which produce energy during the emergency. Thus, higher the myoglobin, if the myoglobin is highest in our muscle fibers, then the strength of a person's will be more. These are the factors which determine the strength. Okay, the first is muscle covering sarcolemma, white muscle fibers, muscle contractions. Faster and stronger the muscular contractions, more will be the strength. Length of the muscles, if the muscle length is more, long muscle have more strength as compared to short muscle. Nerve impulse, faster and stronger the neuromuscular response, faster will be the muscular contractions and our strength will be more. Age, as the age increase, that is age between 20 to 40 years, they have more strength, and after that our strength gradually decrease. Gender, male have more strength. Body weight, the persons who is overweight, whose weight is more, they have more weight as compared to the person who are lean and thin. That is ectomorphic. Endomorphic person have more strength. And myoglobin, they have more strength. Next is physiological factors. What are the physiological factors that determine the speed? Speed means ability to do the work as fast as possible. How fast you can do the activity in a minimum possible time. Speed, there are 4 types of speed: reaction time, acceleration, speed of movement, and locomotor ability. These are the 4 types of speed. Okay, speed means ability to do the activity as fast as possible. How fast you can do the activity. Reaction time means ability to react immediately to a signal. How fast you can react to a signal. For example, in sprint running, how fast you can react to a signal go. Acceleration means how fast you can achieve your maximum speed, ability to achieve your maximum speed. And speed of movements means ability to complete, how fast you can complete the movement. And locomotor ability means how fast you can change your directions, maintaining the maximum speed. And the speed also depends upon strength, endurance, flexibility, and coordinative ability. First is fast twitch muscle fibers, that is white muscle fiber. Greater the percentage of white muscle fibers, faster is the speed. Okay, the persons who have white muscle fibers, they have more speed. And the persons who have red muscle fibers, they have more endurance. Neuromuscular response, higher and faster the neuromuscular response, Faster and stronger is the muscle contractions. If our neuromuscular response is fast, there will be the quick reaction of our muscle. Therefore, our speed will be more. Flexibility. Higher the flexibility, the persons who have more flexible, they have more speed. Okay, flexibility, it also are factors that determine the speed. Flexibility, the persons who have flexibility, more flexibility, they have more speed because they are able to stretch their muscles, stretch their joint. If they are easily able to stretch their joint, then their speed will also improve. ATP energy store. ATP means adenosine triphosphate. This greater the ATP stored, faster is the energy release for speedy and anaerobic activity. This ATP store act as a emergency energy because in speed, when we do the activity with fast speed, we does not have a sufficient oxygen. Therefore, this ATP act as a emergency energy. It provides you energy during anaerobic activity. Anaerobic capacity. Anaerobic means doing activity in the absence of oxygen. And the individual, if the person has anaerobic capacity, then he will have the ability to do the activity in the absence of oxygen also. Therefore, his speed will be more. These are the factors that determine the speed. That is white muscle fibers, neuromuscular response, flexibility, ATP energy store, and anaerobic capacity. Okay, fast twitch muscle means they have more speed. Neuromuscular response, if there is better neuromuscular response, higher the faster neuromuscular response, faster will be the muscular contraction. Thus, our speed will also improve. Flexibility, ATP energy, this ATP energy act as a emergency energy. Therefore, our speed will be improved and anaerobic capacity. Next is physiological factors determining flexibility. Flexibility, it is the ability to stretch your joint as much as possible. Ability of joint to move in maximum range. How fast, how much you can stretch your joint. Okay, flexibility means ability to stretch your joint as much as possible. There are two types of flexibility: passive flexibility, active flexibility. Passive flexibility means ability to stretch your joint with the help of external object or with the help of partner. And active flexibility means stretching your joint without any external help. For example, doing chakrasana, and following some physiological factors that determine the flexibility are joint articulation, structures of joint. Joint articulation means joint structure. Structure is also the main factors that determine the flexibility because it is attached to various muscle, ligament, cartilage, tendons. Therefore, the flexibility of the flexibility is also depend upon joint articulation, that is according to the structure of the joint. Ligament elasticity. Ligament is present between the joint. Ligaments connect bones to bones. If the elasticity of ligament, if the ligament is more elastic, then our flexibility will be more. Our joint will easily stretch. If our ligament if our ligament elasticity is improved. Okay, so ligament elasticity, our flexibility is also depend on. If our ligament is easily stressed, then our joint can be easily stressed without any pain toward the muscle attached near the joint. Muscle stretchability, higher the muscle stretchability, more is the range of joint. Okay, if we are able to stress our muscle easily, then our flexibility will also improve. Disease or injury, usually if the person has disease, if the person has disease or injury in his joint, then his flexibility is affected. Age, usually the children have more flexibility than adults. Genders, female have more flexible body than males due to their anatomical structures. Okay, now genders, male have more strength and female have more flexibility. Warming up, warming up is also affect the flexibility. If we do a warming up, our flexibility will be improved. Heredity, heredity is also related with flexibility, as the joint structures and its articulations is related with heredity. So heredity also it is heredity also determine the flexibility. These are the component, these are the factors which determine the flexibility. So today we have discussed about the physiological factors that determine the strength, speed, endurance and flexibility. Means physiology, physiology means the study of structure, study of human body function and its effect, how the human body organs system function and what are its effect. If we do exercise, what are its effect on our body. There are various components of physical fitness, and what are the effect of our body, what are the physiological factors on this component. First is endurance. Endurance means ability to do the activity for long period of time. Speed, speed means ability to do the activity as fast as possible. Strength means ability to overcome the resistance, and flexibility means ability to stretch your joint as much as possible. And the factors that determine your strength is, that determine your endurance is maximum oxygen uptake, oxygen uptake and oxygen intake. Oxygen uptake means oxygen uptake means the amount of oxygen which can be absorbed and consumed by the walking muscle from the blood. Okay, oxygen uptake. Oxygen intake, oxygen intake means the amount of oxygen which can be taken up from the by the lungs from the atmosphere. Okay, oxygen intake, intake means the amount of oxygen taken up by the lungs from the environment. And oxygen uptake, oxygen uptake means the amount of oxygen absorbed and consumed by the walking muscles from the blood. So if the oxygen uptake is more, then more oxygen will reach to the walking muscle. If more oxygen reaches to the walking muscles, it will produce more energy. If more energy it produces, then we can do the activity for long period of time. Pulmonary diffusions. Pulmonary diffusion means exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. If the exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide is fast, then It's help to remove the carbon dioxide from our body. Thus, endurance will be improved. Cardiac output. If our cardiac output improve, more blood is pumped out by the heart. If more blood is pumped, our endurance will be improved. Aerobic capacity means ability to do the activity in the presence of oxygen for a long period of time, but our speed will be slow. We do the activity for long duration with a slow speed. Lactic threshold means ability to tolerate lactic acid. Due to lactic acid, we feel fatigue due to the presence of lactic acid. When we do any activity, lactic acid is produced, due to which we feel fatigue. But if we have better lactic, if our ability to tolerate the lactic threshold increase, then we are able to delay the lactic acid, delay the fatigue. If we are able to tolerate the lactic acid, it will help to delay the fatigue, tiredness, which result in improving the endurance. Blood volume or blood flow. Higher the flow of blood, more oxygen and nutrients will transport by the blood to the working muscle, as well as there will be the increase in hemoglobin in the red blood cells. Red muscle fibers. The persons who have red muscle fibers, they have more endurance because red muscle fibers carry more oxygen. Thus, it will help to improve our aerobic endurance. Hydrations. Hydrations means sufficient amount of waters. If we have sufficient amount of waters in our body, our endurance will be improved. These are the some physiological factors that determine the endurance.